Can I ask you first about the announcement today about Matthew Rees being appointed the Welsh captain?
Yeah, absolutely delighted for Matthew. He's done a great job for us. The fact that we made him captain here this season really is recognition of his ability, the fact that he belongs to a lot of the values that you want from your captain. He's a very strong character, he's very direct, and he'll drive things hard within the Welsh camp like he's done here at the Park Scarlets.
What would he have impressed Bonham Gatland with? What qualities this season, really, the first 6
Well,
months?
he doesn't take any nonsense. He demands high standards from all the players. He sets high standards himself. He's not a man of many words, but what words he does say are very pertinent and to the point, and certainly players listen to what he says. So, and also he's got a lot of experience now, having played in the Lions so successfully and come back as probably one of the top hookers in world rugby. He certainly will have the shirt. The shirt is his, so he's an automatic selection in there. And I think that he's matured over the last 3 or 4 years in particular into a formidable rugby player who has presence both on and off the field, and certainly commands respect from those around him.
I mean, he's for one game only, according to the announcement today, but do you think that he's an option going forward?
I think, of course, he is. I think they're obviously having a look at him. They're having a look at what their options are moving into the World Cup, and Matthew's got to be somebody that they have to consider.
Disappointed Josh Turnbull and Iestyn out in the squad as a form players?
I mean, it's very difficult for us to comment because we don't see the other options that Wales have, but certainly both Iestyn and Josh have been playing extremely well for us. Disappointed in one level that for their own ambitions, but certainly from our point of view, it adds strength to our team for this big game that we have against Glasgow on the weekend.
In terms of Josh is still with you, with Rob McCusker being out, he would be a natural place, but he's still with you at the moment.
He is, yeah. And as I say, I think we're delighted with that fact, and obviously Rob McCusker has got this groin strain that needs to be dealt with next week. So fortunately, he's available for us as well.
So he'll be in contention for Friday.
Yes, both of them.
How are we looking with the rest of the back row, Nigel? David Lyons available this week?
We're hoping he's going to be available. Johnny Edwards was available, but he went over on his ankle today, so he probably won't be available, Johnny.
So in terms of back row results, you find, Nigel, in terms of where you are?
Yeah, we're very strong. We're very strong in the back row. It's a particularly strong area for us. We've also got Aaron Shingler, who's really stepped up this season and gives us options there. Obviously, Richie Pugh, who I thought made a big impact in the game on Friday against the Blues. We've got Nick Cudd, so we've got lots of options in the back row. Add to that sort of Ben, Josh McCusker and Dave Lyons.
Ben be involved this weekend again?
He will be here.
Backline, Jonathan Davis, how's he looking? Do you think he's available?
Yes, he is available. He obviously won't train with us until later on in the week, but he needs to play rugby. Wales are keen for him to have some game time, and so are we.
Second in the table, Nigel. Just to reflect now, how well did that game go on Friday night?
Yeah, we were very pleased with the game, with the way we controlled the game in particular. I've probably been a bit frustrated in the last 2 games and performed, and certainly the Leicester game, we didn't manage that game at all well. And then to come back like we did against the Blues and really manage the whole performance, play in the right areas, play the right type of rugby. And it's not always going to be spectacular. We know we can do spectacular. What we can't always do is control matches, but we certainly controlled that game. And that was the most pleasing aspect. On top of that, our set piece was very strong, which allowed us to have a good platform to play off, but also we took a lot away from their game with our set piece as well, on their ball.
Is the squad realistically strong enough to challenge for honours both in the Magners and the Heineken, or is it still a rebuilding process this season?
Well, I've said at the start of the year that we've rebuilt this team really over the last 18 months or so, and now is the time for them to front up. You may look at the strength and depth in 1 or 2 positions, but overall I think that's one of the tests of a quality squad, is that you have strength and depth, and I really believe that we're starting to build that. Whether or not we thought we'd be second in the league at this stage, maybe not. But the fact that we are, shows how far this team has come. There's still a long way to go. But if we could put in a big performance against Glasgow on Friday, we'll position ourselves very strongly. We're the third of the season gone, so we'll be pleased with that, realising there's huge challenges to come.
Glasgow pretty impressive against the Ospreys on Sunday.
Very good team, they're at probably the wrong end of the table, but we know from our experiences last year the margins between success and failure in this league are very fine, and they play a real great brand of rugby. We've not beaten them for 5 games, over 2 years, nearly 3 years worth of rugby that we've not beaten them. So they've been very frustrating from our point of view, and we way overdue a big performance against them.
I mean, you mentioned about the roller coaster ride. Obviously, there's Perpignan, Leicester, the Blues. I mean, it's consistency now, isn't it? From them?
It is. It is consistency, and we like to think that we have been consistent apart from the Leicester performance. I was frustrated with the Leicester performance, but I didn't overreact because I thought there were 3 moments we got particularly wrong, which put huge pressure on us and gave them 21 points, and you're never going to come back from that sort of deficit against Leicester. And I knew that overall, by looking at how we played and what we'd put together, we'd structured lots of good rugby. So I wasn't overly panicked by that one result, and I think the fact that we bounced back so strongly sort of justified that. And what we've got to do is keep going now, and we are second in the league, and we've probably got there through a certain level of consistency. Arguably, if we'd have taken our chances in Italy and maybe had the luck of the bounce against the Ospreys, we could have a 100% record. We haven't. We're not there yet, but we're working very hard to get there.
You must have been very pleased to see a dominant forward performance in the front row in the Blues game, especially to see Scott Anderson, a young fella in the Wales squad, being demolished pretty much by Iestyn Thomas.
Yeah, as I said, I think Iestyn is playing extremely well, and the scrum was a major factor in that game, and Iestyn was a big part to play in that. Scott is a very good player, but he's young, and experience counts for a lot in the front row, and that certainly showed for us on Friday. He did very well, Reece has played some great rugby, and he's one that certainly developed through our drive really to develop from within. This time last year, Reece was having a lot of stick for his performances, but we always felt that he would come through for us, and he sat in to show why we've believed in him, and that faith is certainly paying dividends for us now. Reece can play equally well at 15, and we saw when he slotted there as well that he carried on his good performance in that game. What he did very well in the first 3 quarters of that game is control and manage the game. He's got an excellent kicking game, a lot of variation in his kicking game, and he's able to read the game and pick his head up and see what's in front of him. And as a consequence of that, we played the majority of that game in the right areas.
Is Sean Lamont available for Friday's game?
He is, yes, he is, and the flip side to that is that Glasgow will have their international players available as well. No, Tavis not available. But again, it's an area that we're blessed with, and with Martin, we've also got Gareth Davis and Aled, 3 excellent scrum halves who are available for this game.